All right, hello everybody. Now, we're not going to talk about the most sexy of ministry topics and church technology topics, but it is a fundamental and incredibly important one. And that is the topic of device management. Now, if you're like every other church, you've probably got a whole bunch of phones, a bunch of computers. There may be desktops, there may be laptops, there might be Windows, there might be Mac. You might have some Chromebooks or Android devices. Well, these are all things that ultimately, if you want to avoid issues, if you want to make sure that your team and your staff are being efficient and they can focus on discipleship, they can focus on outreach, you need some sort of way to standardize configurations. I work in IT. I see churches come in all the time that basically a lot of the problems that they were facing is they just didn't kind of follow best practices. They didn't have a way to deploy and make sure that all the computers, all the device, all the phones, all those things were following a set of guidelines. This is going to be an efficiency problem because you will run into weird issues because people will get away from standards. You'll run into security problems, right? Because security, there's certain things you got to configure in certain ways. It can be a compliance issue as well, where your insurance company or the region you live in has a legal requirement. And if you have that, if one of your users is able to steer away from that and start doing something else, you can land in a lot of hot water because your insurance company might not pay. You might get a fine from a government body. If you're in some of those regions, you may have lawsuits, things like that. And you want to avoid that if at all possible. So as a church, what should you do? My recommendation here is to go ahead and double down and use Microsoft Intune. Microsoft Intune comes with Microsoft 365 Business Premium. You can get it separately through some other SKUs. In fact, you can get some of it through frontline worker SKUs. But for most churches, you're going to want to get it through Microsoft 365 Business Premium. And the place to start off with this, you can either start off handling the bring your own devices like the phones. Android and iOS are very, very easy to configure the policies because they each require only one policy. Otherwise, you can start creating those policies that you need to have via your Windows and Mac OS configuration. And the thing to start with would be things like enforcing and making sure that Microsoft OneDrive has known file move enabled so that people aren't accidentally saving things to locations that aren't going to be synced up to the cloud. Similar for password policies, like most insurance companies and whatnot are now demanding that you have a password policy of at least 8 characters. With both numbers, letters, uppercase, lowercase. So you want to push that and make sure that that's something that people have to do. Similarly, making sure that the drive is encrypted. These are all things that you want to do because, what if somebody lost their phone? What if somebody lost their laptop? What if somebody just came in and just stole one of your computers? You want to make sure that all the data on there was encrypted and that people can't actually access that. So again, these are all important things that you need to do. I know it's not the most exciting stuff, but it's that baseline that you got to do, because if your team and your staff are struggling with just those basics of, my computer started doing something weird. How do I resolve this? What do I do? It distracts them and keeps them away from doing important stuff like discipleship or writing their sermons or contacting people, those newcomers and things like that. You don't want to be falling down on some of these really important stuff because you have configurations that are coming out, especially, you can basically make use of the donations of Microsoft Intune to handle it and sort it out. So that's my encouragement to you guys today, is to get out there and start working with Microsoft Intune. For those of you who have gotten your Microsoft 365 nonprofit tech for social impact donations, absolutely get started with that. Start joining your computers to what we call Azure AD. So start using your Microsoft 365 login to join your computer to Microsoft 365, and that'll give you access to start managing them through Intune. All right. I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope you guys have a great week coming up, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next week.